Let's dive right in. This week, we're talking about iPhone Ultra. That's right. I know you were excited about the folding iPhone. You're happy to plurk down that $2,000. Well, I got some bad news for you. We'll talk about that here in just a sec. Also, we'll talk more about the MacBook Ultra. Now, we have talked about this obviously a lot before. It seemed as though this was going to be the power version of the MacBook line, and now it's seeming like it may actually not be that. We'll talk about the details. We got a bunch of new iOS 27 and tvOS 27 stuff to talk about, like new features that are coming. I'm just looking through like all the features that I see coming down the pipe and discussing the ones that I think are actually pretty cool, that are things that we all might actually find useful. We'll talk about all those. We got to talk about Silo. I'm not going to do any spoilers. Don't worry. I didn't even watch the trailer. Although, I saw part of it, picture of a trailer on a news site, and I was like, I don't even want to see this. But we've got some new intel to share on Silo. And then one of the craziest stories of the week, which is, if you use Plex, the media management platform, they made an announcement this week that makes me think that the people over there must be, well, let's just say, inhaling some of that fine Colombian cocaine, because this tech story that came out this week, which many were absolutely outraged by, which I find to be incredibly perplexing, but is amusing nonetheless. So we will wrap up with that. Before we dive in, did I set up browser mode? Oh, thank God. No, I didn't. Oh, yes, I did. Check it out. Boom! There we go. I want to give a thanks to Nordstellar for supporting this episode. If you run a business or manage security for a company, you know the real danger isn't just a breach. It's about finding out about it way too late when it's already across all the news stations. That's where Nordstellar comes in. Nordstellar is a threat exposure management platform that detects cyber threats targeting your company and helps you take control before they escalate. How does it help you? It does 4 things for you. Data breach monitoring, which will prevent unauthorized access by detecting leaked credentials, preventing account theft for leaked customer credentials, detecting compromised accounts, and preventing passkey or MFA bypass. Dark web monitoring. You know who hangs out in the dark web? Who's there in the trench coat waiting for you to ask him to open the trench coat? Don't do it. Dark web monitoring will help you stay ahead of the game by identifying potential risks before they emerge, preventing your data from ending up for sale on hacker forums, monitoring mentions of your company in cybercrime communities, and more. And then attack surface monitoring. You can monitor your organization's external-facing assets to reduce the risk of cyber attacks, secure corporate data after an incident before cyber criminals notice it, and protect high-value accounts and personal data from theft. All of these solutions help you keep your company and data safe, identify third-party leaks, and targeted attacks that put you at risk, and safeguard employees and customers from account takeovers, phishing attempts, identity abuse, so on, so forth, vis-a-vis ergo. With Nordstellar, you can identify leaked data and other vulnerabilities, I almost got it that time, before they can be used for malicious purposes, and get continuous monitoring with clear, actionable alerts so you don't get alert fatigue. Don't wait until your company's data is ready for sale on the dark web by you-know-who in the trench coat. Protect your business today with Nordstellar. Cultcast listeners, you can get a 10% discount on Nordstellar with the coupon code CULTCAST-10-Nordstellar. Just mention it to Nordstellar. That again, you can unlock your 10% discount on Nordstellar with the coupon code CULTCAST-10-Nordstellar. Just mention it to Nordstellar when you talk to them. Head to nordstellar.com/cultcast for more information and to schedule a personalized demo. My friends, let's talk about the iPhone Ultra. Oh, thank goodness. I thought I didn't have browser mode activated. Well, according to one leaker, it seems as though the iPhone Ultra, aka the folding phone, Apple's long-awaited foldable phone, may have been delayed. We're not totally sure what's going on. Of course, we'll have to see if Apple can resolve these issues. But according to Momentary Digital, who is a leaker who posted on Weibo, the iPhone Ultra could be indefinitely delayed due to hinge reliability issues, with it apparently failing to meet Apple's quality control standards. Specifically, it sounds like the phone doesn't hold up to long-term use. How do they test that, by the way? Just opening and closing it on a machine like zillions of times? It's not clear whether Apple is struggling with this particular component more than other foldable phone brands, or whether its standards are just higher. I'm going to guess it's that latter part. If Apple can't solve the problem, though, then it could mean that iPhone Ultra will be delayed at the very least. It could also mean that it will be indefinitely delayed, which I do not see a chance of that happening. I could be wrong, obviously, but there's so much hype around this phone that I just don't think that they'll delay it indefinitely. Well, we know one thing that Apple solved is the creasing of the screen. Apple had high expectations for reducing that crease as much as possible. You know, like when you fold a screen, that crease that you see in the middle, which I think many people find extremely unsightly, myself included. I think all foldable phones that are out there all have a crease down the middle of the screen, which is kind of weird, and to this point has just been something that people live with. But it seems like Apple may have solved that problem, or at least seriously diminished it. So much so that you may barely even notice the actual crease. Let's see here. The leaker did comment on that. He said that Apple solved the visible crease problem, saying that it is, quote, visually creaseless after long-term use. Dude, I will believe that when I see it. I don't know how you can make a screen that is folded over onto itself, and when you open it, does not have a visible crease down the middle. Technologically speaking, I just don't believe that that's possible. But I guess we'll find out at some point. And, you know, if we do get the iPhone Ultra, which I suspect we will, if not in 2027, certainly at some point, it's going to have an absolutely bonkers price tag. That's the piece. That's the problem that I think might be maybe more serious than any of these other problems, is from all the rumors that we've heard, this is going to be a phone that costs $1,700, $1,800, $2,000. That is just bonkers price for a phone. And I guess a lot of people just make monthly payments, so maybe it's not a big deal. I don't do that. I just buy my phone. And it's like the idea for me that I would just buy a $2,000 phone outright, too much for me. Maybe I would consider the payments at that point, or just, you know, leasing the phone like so many people do. You just pay for it monthly, and then you get a new one when the new one comes out. I know that's really popular as well. I'm not totally against that, honestly. And to get my hands on the folding phone, if I don't have to plurk down $2,000, actually doesn't sound like such a bad idea. So I guess we'll wait to see what Apple does with this. But there is your iPhone Ultra update, perhaps delayed to 2027, maybe even beyond. We will wait and see. Let's move on to another machine that many of us are intrigued by, dare I say titillated by, the MacBook Ultra. This is coming from a website whose name I can barely say aloud. Is called 9to5Mac. Oh, God, I'm sorry about that. MacBook Ultra could be very good news for MacBook Pro users. It's written by Ryan Christoffel. Yeah, he had an interesting take, actually. He goes on to say that in 2016, that's when Apple unveiled the older MacBooks with the butterfly keyboards, the touch bar, so on and so forth. And that model, I didn't realize it had been around for as long as it was. It was around for 5 years. Do you remember? Those were the dark ages of Mac, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure there were eras before that time that were dark, but that Mac was so bad. And they had pulled out the SD card slot. They had removed MagSafe. It was so bad that I was even considering switching to Windows for a period of time because I did not want to plurk down money for a machine that just was so impractical. You know, I could live with everything, but the loss of the SD card slot was such a punch in the nards for me, especially considering all the video and photography stuff I was doing at that time. I'm like, and the dongle life you had to live, and then the keyboard stuff on top of it. Oh my gosh. It's like a bad dream. In 2021, Apple did a full upgrade of the chassis, so to speak. a lot of internal stuff right, and we finally got the redesign that we were hoping for, and it basically fixed everything. In fact, I think these series of MacBooks are the best that they've ever been. We got extra thickness. Remember, because they were making them thin for a long time, and they just kept making them thinner and thinner and thinner, and all of us were looking around. We're like, what? Who is this computer for? Who is asking for this? Like, I think all of us, most of us, would be happy if you just made it thicker, heavier, added back some of the practicality. And they did that. They fixed the keyboard, thank God. They ditched the touch bar. Of course, they didn't reduce the price for the increase that the touch bar introduced. So there was that. They added ports, HDMI, SDXC, MagSafe back finally. And if you can believe it, we are due now for another complete redesign. And some of the rumors I've heard that I've talked about on this show have been totally wacky. Saying that the new MacBook Ultra could be going after that thinness again, a touchscreen display, which, totally fine if Apple wants to do that. I don't find that to be usable. It's not a feature that I would ever pay for, honestly. But Ryan in this article goes on to say that the reason the MacBook Ultra is probably good news for all of us is because it's going to be the model that Apple experiments with, which I think is an interesting take. He's saying that Apple will probably do some innovative, maybe even questionable things on the Ultra, and they will continue the Pro line. And so they're going to continue to give us what we like about the Pro in the way that the Pro is now, which I'm all for that. And then release the Ultra with new, dare I say, experimental features. And I think that's a great way to do it. Like what they're doing with the iPhone 17 and the iPhone Air. I think the iPhone Air is a very interesting phone. It's not for me because of the overheating issues, because of the reduced battery life, because of the slow charging times, because of the single camera I could go on. But it's so thin and so light and so beautiful and wonderful to hold and wonderful to use. Like I could see why people like it. And so I'm all for this. Like if Apple's up to create an extra model, which is like the experimentation model, and kind of work out the kinks, I think that's a great way to do it. So instead of like killing the model that we all love and killing what I would argue is the perfect computer, the new MacBook Pros, they need OLED to make them completely perfect. And actually, I would add like CF Express type A or B, as long as I'm making requests here. And maybe even ditch I was going to say ditch the SD card slot. That would be good for me. I think for most people that probably wouldn't work, but because CF Express, I think it's kind of like a niche storage medium. But I would love that. But after you add the OLED, I think, and maybe add 10G Ethernet, which I'll never do, I think you'd have the perfect machine. So there you go. There's your MacBook Pro update. Sorry, I cleared my throat directly into the mic after all these years. Speaking about being a pro, you would think I wouldn't do that anymore. So my apologies for the phlegm explosion you just had to hear. Let's move on. Let's talk about some features coming to iOS and tvOS. So I tracked down some of these features and I was like, oh man, these are some good ones. And of course, these are all things that you get for free, which we love. And they're all coming at WWDC very soon, which is in 2 weeks at this point. By the way, probably should have mentioned this at the top of the show. Sorry the show is late. If you're still listening, I ran into a little bit of a technical problem on Friday when I was trying to go live. And kept trying to work it out. Oh, man, I keep having these issues, these weird issues I'm trying to debug. And finally, my time to record the show got away from me. So here I am on a Saturday recording the show, finally got everything working. I still have one issue that I need to fix to get the live stream back working again. But it's a driver problem with my mixer. Freaking Rodecaster Pro 2, which is what I use. There's this driver that you can install to have individual channels show up individually on in OBS. And these drivers are like the most finicky, fail-prone drivers I've ever used. It's like you install the driver and then it works for like a couple days, maybe even a week. And then it just stops working, which is maddening. And like restarting doesn't solve it. You literally have to like either reinstall the drivers and sometimes that gets it working, or uninstall the old drivers and then reinstall the new drivers and then restart your computer and then that gets it working. This is the type of horse manure that you don't ever get on the Mac. People always tell me, they're like, why do you stream on a PC? Well, because my streaming software and a lot of stuff that I use is, I think it works better on a PC, honestly. Like, it's just so much easier to stream on a PC. And OBS, which is the software I use, is Windows native. I just think it works better on a PC. But honestly, with a Mac Studio, and also I game occasionally on this PC. And I like being able to update the internal components, which ironically enough, I don't even do because the RAM prices are through the roof. Hard drive storage prices are through the roof. So like all the stuff I would have upgraded, I'm not going to do now. I already did my RAM, so that's good. But like I need more storage, and now I'm not going to do it, which is one of the reasons I switched to this setup. I rebuilt my entire machine so that I could upgrade the SSD space. And now SSD storage, hard drives, as you all probably heard from my show 2 episodes ago, is completely outrageously ludicrous. I mean, slap your mama, uncle pinches your nips, bizarre, crazy prices outside of the realm of reality that most of us ever would have even thought possible. And so now I'm not going to do any of that work anyway. So I don't know. Maybe switching to a Mac Studio now is not such a bad idea. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, the Colt Commander lives on. It's going strong. It's more powerful than ever, honestly. I mean, the thing is an absolute monster. I could probably use a new GPU, but now I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, let's talk about tvOS, shall we? tvOS, one of my favorite OSs, one of the ones that rarely gets love. And now that I have I almost spoiled something. I can't do it. I have to talk about it later. In fact, maybe I'll talk about it this show. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Instead of the Plex story, maybe you'll give a quick TV. I'm going to do it. We're scratching the Plex story. We're going to go with my TV repair saga update. Because I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then I keep not doing it. But let's talk about tvOS first. tvOS will give Apple TV 4K a useful new setting, something that I hate to admit I might actually need as my eyes erode from my skull, like that guy who drank from the wrong cup in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. My eyesight is slowly getting worse. Like, it's really annoying, too, because I'll look at my Apple Watch sometimes, especially at night when my eyes are tired. I'm like, I literally can't read my watch. So I'm either going to have to end up with glasses or something at some point. We'll see. But if you're an Apple TV 4K fan, you'll know that we're getting some new features. They're on the way. And one of the ones that you'll be able to use is, and I can't believe this wasn't there, is a new setting to adjust the system-wide text and make it larger. That's right. Larger text support is coming to tvOS. So viewers who have low vision, I mean, come on. What is that? People who have vision issues. low vision is a weird way to describe it. My vision's fine. I just sometimes have some trouble seeing. But people with who are visually reading challenged can increase the on-screen text size to make it easier to read. Let's see here. Can I show this? You can see how big of a difference this new setting can make via the comparison images Apple shared above. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, my gosh. Can I make this bigger? I need to remember to make these bigger when I'm doing the stream. So here's what it looks like now. And if you're listening, I apologize. You'll have to go check out the live stream. Just search Airphone Elijah on YouTube, and you can watch the videos, watch the Cultcast live on that channel. I think I'm going to start a new channel, by the way, for Cultcast episodes, which I'll talk about in the future. But at least for now, they'll be on the Airphone Elijah channel. So this is what it looks like when you have the text made bigger. And here's what it looks like when it's smaller. Obviously, huge difference. Wow. Of course, you can fit less on the screen, which is something I don't love. That's why I call it grandpa mode. It's like everything on the screen just like is so huge that you can only see like one or two things at a time. I hate it. But if you can't see, you can't see. What are you gonna do? Currently, tvOS 26 lets users make text bold to make it easier to read. There's also a hover text setting so that the item that's actively selected can be made large, but there is no setting for making dynamic type larger across the entire system. So that is coming to tvOS very soon. I'm not sure if I'll need that one, to be honest with you. I feel like I can see fine on my Apple TV, but it definitely is a problem on my phone sometimes. And then also mostly actually on my watch, I would say. Mostly on my watch. My phone's usually fine, except at night sometimes. If it's too close to my face, it gets a little blurry. But in my elder years here, my eyes are starting to need a little help. I might end up with reading glasses. We'll see at some point, which I really, really don't want to do. I just don't want to be inconvenienced with having to wear glasses, keep glasses with me. But I think that's in my future at some point. Let's see here. Before we keep going, let me also give a quick and hearty and enthusiastic thank you to Squarespace for support of this episode. Holy moly. Look at these animations they got going on here. That threw me for a loop. That looks absolutely beautiful. If you've ever thought about building a website, maybe for your business, your side hustle, or even the idea you've been sitting on forever, Squarespace is hands down the easiest way to make it happen. It removes the biggest barrier, which is just getting started, right? That's the thing that's always the hardest. You don't need to know how to design anything. You don't need to know how to code. Squarespace handles it all for you. They've got this thing called Blueprints, which basically walks you step by step through building a beautiful website. You answer a few questions, pick a style, and boom! How'd you like that? It generates a fully designed website that actually looks beautiful and something that you'll be proud to have represent your business, have represent you. You could build a single-page, impactful website to advertise yourself to potential employers. It'll look great on any website that visits or any device that visits your website. And they've also got tons of built-in SEO tools so people can actually find you. Analytics so you can see what's working, and you can sell stuff of all kinds, physical stuff, digital stuff, products, memberships, digital downloads. It's all there. You can even run email campaigns and keep everything in one place instead of juggling a bunch of different services. And if you want to take payments, that's super flexible. You can accept credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay, and even options like Apple Pay and ClearPay, depending on where you are. So customers have options. So whether you're launching a brand, starting a podcast site, building a portfolio, or finally turning that idea into something real, Squarespace makes it easy. Go to squarespace.com/cultcast to start your free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code CULTCAST to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That is squarespace.com/cultcast. And the offer code is CULTCAST to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I do a year of service at a time, which gives an additional discount. That's how I like to roll. I love rolling with those discounts. You know that. You know that about me. I love those discounts. Thanks to Squarespace for continue to support this episode or this podcast, which I really appreciate. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about some new iOS 27 features, shall we? Here's a feature. I'm slowly turning into Helen Keller. I got the vision problems. You know what else I can't do anymore? Understand things that are being said in movies. I don't know if I'm going deaf. It annoys my wife when we're watching movies, but I have to turn on subtitles, especially in a movie with sci-fi terms. Like in Dune. Good luck watching Dune without the subtitles on and have any chance of understanding what is happening in that story. So as much as I hate to do it, I have to turn on subtitles so I can read what's happening. Not all the time, but particularly in scenes where they're talking about people's names or like strange sci-fi equipment. I guess I watch a lot of sci-fi stuff, and like they talk about some of these concepts so casually, and you're meant to just remember this stuff. I could barely remember anything. Like when I was young, my head was like, I don't know. It was like quicksand. You throw something at the brain and it goes and then just gets soaked right in. Now my brain, the surface is like a rubber ball. Maybe I would say a sponge, but I feel like that's too porous. You throw it, and it usually goes boing and just flies right off. If you're lucky, you find a crack, you find a wrinkle, and the idea gets in there. And so when I'm watching movies and stuff, it just really helps to read stuff well. iOS 27 is bringing a new video feature that could prove to be super helpful if you're having problems like I am. Apparently, I'm just turning into grandpa mode right here before your eyes. I have been doing the show for 14 years. So all these problems have come in the last 14 years. iOS 27 will let you add subtitles to any video you watch. Apple revealed its new accessibility features, which I feel like these accessibility features are often ignored by people who think that they don't need them. But there's a ton of accessibility features built in that are actually useful for like everybody. And I think this is one of them. Let's see here. It's called generated subtitles. Your iPhone will let you automatically create subtitles for any video you watch. That means subtitles for any video on social media. Dude, in the Photos app and Messages or anywhere else system-wide. Apple describes it this way in their press release. While captioning solutions are increasingly common for users who are deaf or hard of hearing, subtitles for spoken dialogue are rarely available for personal videos, content shared by friends and family, or other media. And with new generated subtitles, videos can display transcriptions of spoken audio automatically when captions or subtitles are not already provided, including in clips recorded on iPhone, received from friends and family, or streamlined online. Now, of course, it also goes on to say that these subtitles are generated privately and automatically for uncaptioned videos on iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple TV, and Vision Pro. And the appearance of subtitles can be customized in the video playback menu or in settings. I was going to make another excellent point, but it's completely gone now. But I do find that this will be useful for those of us who like to have subtitles on when they are watching stuff on their phone. And I think this will be one of the ones that I end up using. So another super useful feature coming to iOS 27, absolutely free of charge for all of you. Oh, wait a second. This is something I probably need to mention. There's one key limitation for now. Generated subtitles will only be available in English and, sorry to our govs out there, only in the US and Canada. I'm sure that they'll bring this stuff to new regions eventually, but that's the way it's going to start. And I remember what I was going to say before. We'll see how good these subtitles actually are. I think with the integration of Gemini into the OS, they're actually going to be good. But we know that we have no hope of them being even remotely possibly useful in the current state of iOS with the current, intelligence features generating those captions. That is absolutely not going to work. But I think, again, I say this all the time, I think that integrating Gemini into iOS is going to be absolutely transformative. Absolutely transformative. And I think that Apple stock, let's take a look at this stock here today. Let's just take a look-see. Oh my gosh. Holy moly. We are at 308. Almost 309. Oh my. In the last 3 months, Apple stock's up 16%. In the last month, it's up 12%. Man, these are like Google numbers. This is crazy. Last 6 months, we're up 12%. Okay, and almost all the increase that's happened in the last year to date. Sorry, I keep doing that into the mic. Unbelievably rude. It's like peak allergy season around here. I got this freaking maple tree in my yard. It's so beautiful. I don't have the heart to cut it down. But he's just dumping pollen everywhere, all over the place, coating everything in like this thick yellow pollen, including, I'm sure, my throat and the interior of my lung veins. Oh my gosh, yeah. So it really, just since March, it's been going up like crazy. It was 248 in March, and now it's 308. Wow. Let's take a look at the last year. Oh my goodness! In the last year, it's gone up almost 60%. But see, in the last 2 years, it's only gone up a total of 65%. So Apple stock was going sideways for a long time. A long time. And suddenly, it's just been going up like crazy, which I'm obviously very excited about, being a massive Apple stock owner. God, I should do another Apple stock update soon, shouldn't I? But for those of you on the video feed, this is the, check that out. That's the 2-year stock chart right there. Look at that. Look at that incline. Oh my goodness gracious. And I think a lot of that excitement has to do with the AI stuff that Apple is going to be weaving in to the OS. I think it's going to be transformative. And I think that Apple overnight is going to become one of the biggest AI companies on earth. And they're going to figure out a way to monetize that too. You know that TC has probably already got some master plan. Oh man, I did it. I remembered. Let's continue. Let's talk about another feature that is coming to iOS 27, which now this one may not be something for all of us, but I can see myself using this in specific instances. In iOS 27, with voice control using AI, which we saw a preview of, I think in someone's tweet this week. Yeah, here it is. You'll be able to control your actual iPhone with nothing but voice commands, because I'm sure using Gemini's vision model, the AI will know what's happening on your screen at all times. And again, AI transforming the world. These vision models are incredible. Let's see if I can show a demo of this here. Let me turn up the volume here and see if I can get this. Oh, I don't hear any volume. Dang. So there may not be volume in this one, although I thought there was. But I'll narrate for people that are listening, which is most of you. So we're looking at an iPhone, and there are some folders on the phone, and someone is talking to the iPhone, telling it to do things, and the iPhone is essentially going through folder structures and then opening up a file simply by using voice commands. So obviously, if you don't have the mobility to like interact with your phone with your hands, completely transformative. And again, the control that's happening here is purely happening by someone just talking naturally to their phone. And, you could come up with all sorts of scenarios in the future once this is possible, with you being able to do things with like AI agents on your phone, to control your phone and do things that you could do, autonomously, or they can do autonomously without your help. It's a crazy world out there, my friends. It's a crazy world out there. And so this feature is going to be landing in iOS 27. You'll be able to control hundreds of things on your phone with just speaking to your phone. I'd be happy just to have it understand what I'm saying. That would be a great start, wouldn't it? All right, let's continue on. Oh, hold on a second. Someone's at my door. Who is this? Oh, it's my son's friend. Never mind. I love the video doorbells, man. I love them. I'm using a Tapo video doorbell, and so whenever anyone rings it, which I know there's like 80 different models of doorbells out there, but it's so nice to just have your phone ring and show you who's at the door and be able to talk to those people. Like I was out of town the other day, and my neighbor's kid came to the door to ask if my son could go play. Well, we were out of town, but I was like, oh, who's at the door? And so I load up the video app, and he's standing there waiting for someone to answer the door. And I also noticed there are 2 packages sitting on the porch. And so I was like, oh, shoot, I don't want those sitting there, because we've had issues with people stealing packages in my neighborhood. It's like this new thing that's been happening. Oh, it's so frustrating. And in fact, someone stole my kid's bike out of my yard. It's turning in, my neighborhood's turning into Biff Town. Remember in Back to the Future, where Biff steals the time machine and goes and, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, this is your chance to fast forward 20 seconds, goes back to the past and gives himself the almanac, and then comes back, and like the whole future is like Biff World, and it's like a biker city where there's no police and like all the houses are boarded up. That's what my neighborhood's turning into. And so I don't like to leave packages on my porch anymore. And so the kid's standing there, and I turn on the microphone on my doorbell, and I was like, "Hey, like we're not home." He's like, "Is your son here? Can he play?" I was like, "No, he can't." I'm like, "But hey, can you get the packages off my porch for me?" he's like 6. And he's like, "One of them's really heavy." I'm like, "You could totally do it." And I was like coaching him over the doorbell. I was like, "Just try to lift it like this way." And he's like, "I can't." I'm like, "Well, just drag it." Like one of the flaps like came undone when he was trying to lift the package. And I'm like, just grab the flap and just drag it to the backyard. And I was like, "Put it on the back porch." And he did. He got the job done. Or mostly. So he got them off my front porch. But when I got home, I noticed that he left the packages on the side of my house. Kids these days. And which whatever, it's like I appreciated that he got them off my front porch. They didn't get stolen. And it was sunny outside, so it wasn't a big deal. But I was like, dude, this is handy. This is totally handy. Anyway, video doorbells for the win. Let's talk about Silo Season 3, and then we're going to wrap up. I'll tell the Plex story just real fast, and then I'll talk about the my TV update. So let's talk about Silo Season 3. For those of you Silo lovers, the only reason I bring this up is because I know a lot of you like Silo. I think it's one of the best sci-fi shows that I've ever watched. I love it. And I think there's only 2 seasons left, Season 3 and Season 4. I'm not going to read all of this for you because I don't want to spoil anything. They do say that Silo Season 3's significant character change revealed in a new teaser trailer. I'm not going to talk about that. I saw some images and, whoops, I may have just showed something on the screen. But the part I did want to mention is Silo premieres on Friday, July 3rd with its first episode. And then we'll have weekly releases. God, I hate how they do this. Of course they do it this way because they want you to subscribe the whole summer. But Silo Season 3 premieres Friday, July 3rd. And we'll have weekly releases through September 4th. So basically the entire summer. Silo Season 3 and 4 will cover aspects of books 2 and 3 of the novel that Silo is based off of, or I guess a trilogy of popular novels, which I don't think I knew this was a novel series. Wait a second. The novel series is called Silo, but it has a picture of the characters from the show on the cover. So that's kind of confusing. All right, well, maybe they just did that to capitalize off the show, I guess. Well, Silo, incoming. New episodes of Silo. If only we get new episodes of some of the other good shows that we're all waiting for. And no, I'm not talking about For All Mankind. One of the most boring shows I've ever watched in my entire life. Now, I hear that it got better. I mean, I would disbelieve that except for the fact that it couldn't have gotten worse. That first season was so horrendously boring. I couldn't even make it through. I take that back. What was the other sci-fi show that Apple made? They made a bunch of them now. But one of the first ones, okay, now I got to look this up. Now I got to look this up. Sci-fi. Foundation. Oh my gosh, Foundation that is a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb. I found Foundation to be unbelievably cringeworthy. I thought the casting was terrible for some of the characters. And some of the, I could not do it, man. Couldn't do it. Wait a second. Was this the one that I was thinking of? Yeah, I think it was Foundation. It's been so long since I've seen it. I am also waiting to get Severance back because that was excellent sci-fi. Okay, there you go. Quick mention. The company running Plex, someone needs to go check on them. They're having a mental health crisis. they announced this week that they are raising prices on their Plex lifetime pass. Try saying that 3 times. I can't even say it once. I should mention Plex is a media management app that people use to oftentimes to manage pirated media. I'm a good boy. I don't have any pirated media, although I used to have a lot of it. So I bought it at the time to do exactly that, to manage my media. Also, they had really useful features for managing photos, your own personal photos and videos. And so I bought a lifetime pass for I think $90 because there are some features that you can't access without the pass, and I was using it a lot, and so I bought it. And then after I bought it, they started creating features that I would say were actually not in the spirit of what Plex was meant to be. They started adding features that were meant to compete with Netflix, streaming features, streaming shows and that type of thing, but some of them you had to pay for. So I'm like, what is this? This is not what I want. This is not. And they deprecated the features that were, or stopped working on the features that were meant to manage media, like your own media, like your own videos, your own personal videos and photos and stuff, which is one of the reasons why I paid for it. And so I basically stopped using it entirely. Well, they decided that instead of just charging $90 for a lifetime pass, which is what they were doing, and then they increased it to $250, which I think is, again, slap your mama outrageous. Now, they've decided that they're going to raise that price to $750. $750 for a lifetime membership to Plex. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're smoking or injecting or swallowing, or maybe all of the above. But the notion that anyone would spend $750 on this, this is 289 comments. The notion that anyone would spend $750 on Plex is outrageous. They still have a monthly membership that you could pay for too if you want to do that, which even that I find to be kind of a hard sell. I mean, you're most people are using Plex to manage media that they've pirated, and the Plex subscription price is I think $8 a month or something. For that price, you can just pay for the actual streaming service. I don't know, man. Yeah. Anyway, just wanted to give that as a PSA and as a, are you smoking illicit substances? Are you hanging out with El Caney in the dark web section of America Online? Because that is absolutely bonkers. There is a free alternative that lots of people are loving, which I haven't tried, called Jellyfin. I would love to figure out a way to manage my media that I don't want in my iCloud account, like my photos and stuff. I take a lot of videos that I want backed up and I want available on my TV, but I don't want to put them in my photos account because then Apple's going to charge me for backing them up, and they're hundreds of gigs. And movies and stuff that, I mean, I would love to have them. I would love to have them in my Apple account, but Apple locks you in, and in order to sync content from device to device, you have to pay them. And so, dropping hundreds of gigs worth of content into my photo library, it is not a good way to do that, in my opinion. I'm going to end up paying Apple another, $20 a month just for more storage. So I might try Jellyfin at some point. I started getting it set up on my NAS the other day, but I haven't got it totally configured, and it seemed to be having problems with my personal media, like my iPhone videos and stuff. So there's no great solution. The Apple Photo app is so good. It's just so good. I hate that there's no way to back up your library or sync it across devices without paying Apple exorbitant storage fees. I really don't like that. But they've got us trapped, my friends. They've got us trapped. There's nowhere to go. Okay. Shall we talk about a quick update for my TV woes? My beloved, I'll give you a quick overview of what happened. For those of you that don't know, I purchased a Sony A95K television. JK? Yeah, it was a K. 3 years ago, I talked about it on the show at the time, and it had the most beautiful, glorious QD OLED display. And the pop of the colors, it has like huge, rich color volume, more than I'd ever seen. And it was just dazzling. That was such a beautiful TV. Well, even though it's like a $3,000 TV, $4,000 TV, depending on where and when you buy it, it broke after a year. And I contacted Sony. I was like, this TV's doing weird things. I let it go for a long time, and they said, well, we're going to just send you a new one. Send that one back to us. So I said, okay, great. Thank you very much. And so they did. They sent me a newer model, which was awesome. They sent me the A95L, which had an even more dazzling, it was iterative, but even more dazzling display. Beautiful. Colors pop. I would say the specular highlights, like the actual brightness of bright scenes, looked better. And I was like, this is the best, man. 2 years later, that TV catastrophically failed. Would not even turn on anymore. Call Sony. Started a case with them. To their credit, they actually did talk with me, but they refused to do anything for me. They wouldn't send me a new one. They wouldn't repair it. And they were like, well, if you want, you can seek your own repairs. Here's a link to find repair technicians in your area. There's none. I'm in a major metropolitan area, Seattle. There's no one that they know of that can even fix this TV. And so I was completely SOL. I was furious. I was like, this is two catastrophic failures of a Sony Master TV in 3 years. Like a TV failure like this should never happen for a TV this expensive. And they're like renowned for their quality. And yet here I am with two failures. I was like, clearly this is a Sony problem. I really think you should replace this TV for me or repair it. Like, just send someone to my house to repair it. That's all I want. And they refused. The only thing they would do is offer to sell me a new one at a discount. But it wasn't that much of a discount. They're offering like, I think that the TV at the time, it's normally like, what is it? Let's take a look here. A95. Well, the new one is called the Sony Bravia. The A95L replacement is the Bravia 8 Mark II. Actually, they had a Mark I, which came out a while ago. And so that one, it's on sale again. Okay. Oh, right, because it's Memorial Day. Oh, my gosh. So typically, it's $3,300 if you don't have a sale going on. And, whoops, none of this is working. And then they put it on sale for $2,600, when there is a sale that's happening. Oh my gosh, they have some new open box refurbished models. Ooh, $1,590. Ooh, that's oh dang, that actually is a really great price. Holy moly. Oh, but it's unavailable nearby. Anyway, that's probably why it's so low price. They don't even have it in stock. So Sony wanted to sell me the Bravia Mark II, or the Bravia 8 Mark II for $2,000, which it was on sale at the time for $2,600. I was like, that's not much of a discount. And I was almost going to do it because I was like, here, I researched LG TVs. The LG G Series TVs are beautiful. I don't think they look as good as the Sonys. I think the Sony has the best OLED picture of any TV I've ever seen. It beats out the G Series as well. That's debatable. People like the G Series, LG OLEDs, but that TV is expensive. It also doesn't come with a stand, which is something that I use, and I don't want to pay for another stand. And also, once you get used to that Sony image, it's hard to leave it, man. And the Bravia 8 Mark II is even brighter, and has even better specular highlights, and so it's just iteratively improved across the board. And so I was just shopping around, and I found that Best Buy had a open box model for, I think it might have been $1,590, it might have been $1,600. I forget what the price was. And I was like, dude, that's a big discount. That's even cheaper than what Sony's offering me. And what I didn't realize is Best Buy open box items are considered brand new. So if you get one, it actually still has the manufacturer warranty on it, which means if you buy it with a credit card, which extends the warranty, you get that extended warranty for free. So it was a no-brainer for me. I was like, well, if I've decided I'm going to buy this TV, I might as well buy it from Best Buy and get the year of manufacturer warranty along with the year of extended warranty for, I think it ended up being like $1,850 out the door for that TV. And I negotiated with them to try to get them to lower it. They would not. And so I also tried to get them to give me the $400 Best Buy warranty for free. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do anything. Of course, the best part is, like, when I took it home, I found out it didn't have any feet in the box. So I was like, oh, great. It doesn't have any feet. But I went back to Best Buy, and they found the feet, and they gave them to me. So I ended up with the newer model of the A95L, which is the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II. It looks absolutely beautiful. Am I mad I'm having to spend the money again? Yeah, I'm pissed. I can't believe that this happened again with Sony. And they have like this hotline or this email address that you can email, which apparently is read by executives. And I was gonna email them and just let them have it and let them know, like, this is outrageous. Like, you can't be dropping $3,000 on a TV and have it fail twice like that. Unacceptable. These TVs are made in Mexico now, which I think is highly sus, as the kids like to say. Like a TV made in Mexico. I prefer my TVs to be made at Foxconn or in Japan, preferably in Japan. You know, because to quote the great Marty McFly, "Come on, Doc, all the best stuff's made in Japan," right? So anyway, I get the TV. The story's not over. I get the TV, and I get everything like reconnected, and it turns on. It's working. But when I select my Apple TV, the Apple TV is asking me to restore the software. And I'm like, dude, what the heck? Why is this happening? Is it because I'm connected to a new TV? And so I try to go through the restore process. It wants me to hold up my phone. And then it, for a moment, tries to go through the restore process. And then it resets itself. And it asks me to hold my phone near it again. And so I try to go through the process again. It doesn't work. Does the same thing. Status bar for a brief second, and then the whole thing resets. I try it like 5, 6, 7 times. I cannot get the dang thing to restart. And so I'm doing some research online, and it's like, well, your software is probably corrupted, or your hardware has been corrupted somehow. You need to take it into the Apple Store. And so I'm like, dude, this is unreal. Like, what happened in this household that corrupted all of these pieces of hardware? And so I take it to the Apple Store, and I'm talking to them as I'm checking in. They said, oh, yeah, this happens all the time with these. And I was like, really? And he said, oh, yeah, we just replace them. He's like, they'll ask you a few questions, and they'll just replace it for you. And I was like, okay. I was elated. I was like, that's awesome, man. At least Apple's going to take care of me, right? And so the first genius passes me off for the second genius. He's like, what's going on? And I was like, I explained to him what's happening. He's like, ooh, yeah. He's like, this is probably a software problem. He's like, this happens all the time. And he's like, usually, like, we just replace them. And I was like, you can't repair it? He's like, there's no way to connect to it. He's like, the only option we have to fix it, or the only way we can fix it, is if we can still access the menus, like the settings and everything. He's like, but if it won't get to that point, he's like, there's literally nothing I can do. Because they don't put a service port on it, just like they did with the original HomePod, right? It's like mind-blowing. I'm like, dude, spend the extra 25 cents and put a USB-C port on this thing so that we can repair it. And he's like, let me just go through the process. We'll get this thing swapped out for you. And so we go through the process. He asks me the questions. We get to the very end. He's like, well, I hate to tell you this. He's like, but my iPad's not giving me the option to swap this out for you. I'm like, what? What do you mean? You told me you're going to change. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. I'm like, so there's nothing you can do? He's like, the best I can do is I can give you a discount on a new one. And I was like, here we are again. This is unreal. You wanted to sell me one for like $125 or something. And I was like, dude, I don't want to buy a new one. Like, the new ones are coming out in mere months. I don't want to buy a new Apple TV now. And he just kind of shrugged. He's like, sorry, bro. So I was, again, very pissed. And I took the thing home, and then they sent me a survey. And I filled it out, and I just said I was incredibly disappointed with my experience with Apple. And they're like, well, do you want a call back from a manager? I was like, yes, have a manager call me. Not expecting they actually would. Lo and behold, a couple days later, I get a call from, I guess, like a manager, service technician, or something, and she basically said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Like, we shouldn't have promised to repair it or anything." And I was like, "That's not really the problem." I'm like, "The problem is that this thing's like 2 years old and it's completely failed, and that shouldn't have happened." And yes, also, you had two people tell me that you were going to give me a new one. Like, at that point, you should just give me a new one. But she's like, "Yeah, sorry, I can't do that. You're going to just have to buy another one." I was like, "So you told me that you know that there's a problem with these, and you or you replace them all the time, but for whatever reason, mine's not replaceable." She's like, "Yeah, basically." So Sony failed me. Apple, the Genius Bar, failed me. And so I ended up having to reach out to a dear friend, listens to the show, who hooked me up with a discount, which I greatly appreciate. But even with this discount, it still stings because we know the new Apple TVs are going to be coming out probably in a couple months. I think the last rumors that we heard was Apple was just waiting on like the new Siri, and I'm sure they have new hardware in the new Apple TV Plus that will take advantage of that. And so I had to buy a new Apple TV Plus, or not Apple TV Plus, Apple TV 4K. Y'all knew what I was saying. I already know that, but I'm just like, something happened in my household. I have both these devices connected to a very good surge protector, by the way. So I don't know what happened, but both were either damaged or corrupted or something. So I dropped $2,000 to get my TV working, but thank God I got a great price on that TV. I got a great price on the Apple TV Plus or 4K. I cannot. My brain always wants to call it the Apple TV Plus. The Apple TV 4K, and it is working again, and it is beautiful again. And boy, I love that combination. You know, that the TV that I bought, it has Google TV on it, and it actually wasn't nearly as horrible as it had been in previous TVs. Like this TV, it was much smoother, it worked much better. So I actually liked it a lot more, and I thought about just using that until the new Apple TV comes out, but I can't connect to my HomePods in my living room now, or the ones that were connected to my TV. I can't show any of my Apple photo library on my TV. Like, you need the Apple TV 4K to do all that stuff. And so finally I was like, all right, man, just freaking bit the bullet and bought it. And I already know I'm going to buy the new Apple TV 4K anyway when it comes out, because I need a new one for the Colt Command Center for this TV I have up here, my 65-inch TV. And plus, I just want to have whatever it is that's new. So I ended up with a brand new TV and a brand new Apple TV 4K. What is that line? Sometimes you eat the bar, and sometimes, well, the bar eats you.